What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Finesse Monster, the Activist Bull, back with another video. Know y'all wondering who is this guy behind me. He goes by the name of Alex Alpha. He doesn't have much of a following on YouTube nor many videos put out, but I gave this guy a chance because I saw that he had a video out about Hindenburg research, what they do, and how they make money off of short reports against stocks such as Mullen Automotive. This guy has done some good DD on Hindenburg research, and I want to make sure a lot more people get to know this information because he did not get a lot of views on this video. And he was just trying to raise awareness of what he believed the real scammers in the market are today. So be sure to share this video because it pertains to Mullen Automotive to a T. Let's get right into it.
From the title called Hindenburg Research. They were the firm that famously revealed the Lordstown and Nikola debacles, among many other companies that were revealed to be frauds, or at least they made us think they were. Short sellers have always had this bad reputation in the investing world. Older folks, they call them corporate raiders because that's how they make their money. They make their money by raiding companies. You drop a little report, you spread the word, you cause a small panic sell, and you just made yourself a lot of money on your short positions. There are, however, another breed of short sellers. Those who claim to be activist investors. Those who claim to be the market's policemen. They tell us that they are here to punish fraudulent companies that made up their entire valuation solely on being able to tell a good story. The logic behind that being, if you're thinking about making a company public, just based on a good story and with no real product, scalable product to back it up, these short sellers will make you think twice about it. So the question is, where does Hindenburg sit? Corporate raiders or much needed market peacekeepers? From their website, Hindenburg Research specializes in forensic financial research. That's a mouthful. Our experience in the investment management industry spans decades with a historical focus on equity, credit, and derivatives analysis. Or without the fancy lingo, they're a research firm that aims to find fraudulent companies and publish research reports about them. And at the same time, just before hitting the publish button on that report, they initiate a short position. So the business model is very simple. First, you find indications of fraudulent companies, then you investigate the companies, and if it's promising, you initiate short positions. Then you publish a report showing all the flaws of the company and you spread it, and then you just profit. So why do the guys at Hindenburg do what they do? Well, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is profit. As stated in the business model above, if the company is really fraudulent, well, they're right. And if they spread the word about it, they're gonna make their profits even earlier. Let's treat it in that. Well, according to Nathan Anderson, the founder of Hindenburg Research, him and his team are doing this because they're deeply troubled by the market state. In his own words, we're in a market where there's so much liquidity sloshing around and so much of the retail investment is in high fuel industries that has attracted and enriched just about every stock promoter capable of telling a basic story. So basically what he's saying is today's market conditions and the strong presence of retail investors have made many fraudulent companies successful after the IPOs just because they were able to tell a basic story that would convince you to buy the stock, even though they have no real product to sell behind it. So the sensible fundamentals have been replaced by a good story, hype, and very abstract growth plans. So Hindenburg wants to do their part to solve this issue by acting as a sort of investigative journalists with a different business model. So they go after these organizations that are supposedly frauds, investigate them, and if they're frauds, then they publish a report and they finance their activities by initiating short sales. Now, due to their business model, many people classify Hindenburg as just another short selling firm. But the founder likes to remind you that that's not the case, because the firm allegedly blew up over 6 Ponzi schemes quietly without publishing a report about it. They've also submitted 24 whistleblower filings on private and public companies alike. Anderson also points out that the firm has long positions besides the short ones, but they don't publish them because, according to him, they're not as interesting at times. See, the problem of having a business model that solely relies on exposing frauds is that you become way too tempted to conclude a company's fraud status without actually going through all of the research. You just amass the few elements, the minimum elements that you know would cause a panic sell, initiate your short sell, and then publish the report. Then whether the company is actually a fraud or a good company, doesn't matter. And this is a strategy that many short selling companies have adopted in the past. This is why they have that bad reputation among investment circles. So is this the case with Hindenburg Research? Now, of course, there are many reports that Hindenburg published and that are still under debate between the bulls and bears. We're not going to talk about those. I really wanted to find stocks where Hindenburg announced their short selling position. And so with a quick Google search, I found 4 stocks. Ideonomics, Mara, Riot, and Microvision. All of them, as you can clearly see, bounced back from their short selling accusations indicated by the little bar. So we already had these 4 stocks that rebounded after Hindenburg initiated the short position. That means that the market thinks they're wrong. But as Bill Ackman knows with Herbalife, just because the market thinks you're wrong doesn't mean you're actually wrong. So I wanted to go deeper and find a case where Hindenburg clearly showed how they didn't care about the actual company and just wanted to publish a report and get their money. So I went back to the Ideonomics report and found a couple of articles that contrasted very nicely with the Hindenburg report, showing how Hindenburg didn't actually go through with their research and that a lot of the clues that indicate the company's fraud status are not really true. So Hindenburg research alleged that Ideonomics claims to own and operate a large-scale facility for its mobile energy global division sales, and that their investigators have been on site and claim MEG does not have a presence there. To this, Ideonomics says it has never claimed or disclosed ownership of the site, explaining that it holds a 15-year rent-free agreement which was signed in November 2019. Hindenburg Research disseminated social media content regarding the conversation with MEG Partners sales staff with all the dealers at the site. But Ideonomics now says it has statements from these staff members that refute Hindenburg claims. And I agree, this is more of a he said, she said, so nobody really wins here. But for Hindenburg Research to claim that their company is a fraud based on such burial evidence, it's kind of a red flag. So I kept going, kept researching on the other stocks that went up after Hindenburg shorted them, and I stumbled upon something very interesting with the Microvision stock. While the Ideonomics thing is more of a he said, she said, and nobody can really tell who's right and who's wrong, with Microvision, Hindenburg clearly showed that they were not on top of their technical game when they shorted this stock. I found this Seeking Alpha blog article talking about all the points that Hindenburg mentioned, and it's a bit hard to read. It felt like it was translated from some language to English using Google Translate, but it's very interesting and tackles all the points with very concrete evidence. So I'm gonna leave it in the description, but in summary, this is what it says. There are 4 main points I have extracted from this article. First of all, Hindenburg called Microvision a corporate husk with no real product to sell, even though Microvision has been selling products for many years, including having Microsoft as a client for the HoloLens 2. Hindenburg says Microvision has no revenue when it has generated 9 million of it. And yes, the company is operating at a loss, but it's a 1-to-3 ratio. Hindenburg claims that the stock has clearly been correlated with the EV rise and that people invested in Microvision just because of the EV hype, but that's kind of a weak claim. Estimated their number of patents by 50%. So not only is it this in bad faith because you're underestimating a number that is available, but secondly, the number of patents does not matter. You could have 1,000 patents if they're useless. What's the point? So you can't really judge an innovative company's standing on their number of patents. It is trading at twice the peak of when the report was dropped. So overall, what does this mean? Should we just cancel Hindenburg and forbid them from publishing reports ever again? To hell with short sellers and all activist investors. No, obviously not. I don't want to leave you with a bad note about how Hindenburg Research is a market manipulator and it was the fraud all along. They did get many things right, as we saw on the first part of the video. I mean, the whole Nikola debacle where they went Sherlock Holmes and somehow triangulated the position of the road to figure out there was a downhill. I mean, come on, that's good research. That's good research. And this is just one of the few cases where they really got it right. So what does all this mean? This means that the firm, while they do some good work, it's not going to be right every time. And just because Hindenburg published the report, it doesn't mean that you should panic sell. And if you're really thinking about panic selling when some short selling firm publishes a report, that just means that your due diligence was not strong enough. Obviously, you should look at the report and not dismiss it before reading it, as it might uncover some new information that you didn't have access to before. But don't panic sell.
Winners.